welcome back to my channel, PumpkinBecki. It's the 8th of December today and it's time I did some pruning on my grapes which grow over my pergola here behind me. Let's get started. So as you can see, over the course of the growing season, grapes tend to put on great long whips of growth, and we want to bring that right back down to give us some really good fruiting spurs. That's what I'm going to be doing today. So here's an example of a branch I want to cut back. The main branch comes here. I'm pulling it down a bit just to show you. And that is used to extend across the pergola, which is great. I want the coverage on the pergola. But then to encourage fruit, I need to keep any extra pieces that branch off pruned back. And you literally count 2 buds. So on this one I have a bud here and I have a bud here. So I'm going to make a nice sharp angled cut right there below that second bud. The branch then forks, and do you know what, this branch is probably long enough for me, so I'm actually going to prune this back to 2 buds as well. So I've got one on the outside of the branch that you can't see, one on the inside of the branch. Now I don't really want to prune to that because that is going to force growth into this piece here that I've just pruned. So I'm actually going to go to the 3rd bud, which is here, and points away from that junction. So in that instance it is completely fine to cut to 3 buds instead of 2. Grapes can really suffer from a mould called botrytis, which tends to form towards the end of summer when there's an awful lot of leaf, an awful lot of fruit, and therefore the airflow is reduced. You often get hot, humid days and the moisture can't get away, and it encourages this mould to form. It's kind of bluey pattern. You will see that affecting the leaves, but mostly it will affect the fruit. So it's really important that we keep this growing area as clean and clear as possible now, so that in the spring when it puts on growth, and believe you me, it will put on a lot of growth, this area can be kept as tight and controlled as possible. You can bring it back so that your fruit is wanting to form here, not 10 foot out there somewhere. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to prune the rest of the vine in the same way. Important point to make is that you don't want to prune your grapevines too early in the winter season, and the reason for that is sap can tend to weep out of the cuts. The cuts I'm making are staying really nice and dry, but if you cut earlier in the season, it's almost like it's raining. It's drip, 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 drip. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to stress your plants just before they go into winter. So best to do it as late as you can into December, and that way the sap has gone back into the main plant and you're quite safe to cut the branches off without causing weeping. This vine, which is Cardinal, is actually a wine variety. We don't grow for wine, so I let it grow in quite an unruly manner across the pergola to try and cover as much space as possible. So hence the top is not nicely trained, pruned, but now I've got that overall coverage that I'm happy with on the pergola. Now I can go back in and keep everything down to the sort of slightly chaotic framework that I've got. As with all pruning, you're going to be taking out dead wood, crossing wood, as well as overly long wood to bring it back to those fruiting spurs. And yes, it is about 1 degree out here. It is only about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It is freezing cold, and suddenly it's gone horribly dark in the garden. There is sun, but it's dipped down behind the buildings over to the other side of me. Unfortunately, you do have to do some work in the freezing cold, like I'm doing now. It's bitter. I don't like it. I'm going to plan some indoor videos, I think, because I don't want to be out here right now. I want to be in front of the fire. It is really important to do this work now. It will actually also protect your vine from damage from winter gales, because long whippy growth is going to get blown around. Something that's short and snug is less likely to get damaged. Please don't be intimidated about pruning and growing grapevines. They really are incredibly easy. They're also not that labour intensive. We've got 3 vines here in the garden. You do them a couple of times a year, and that's it really. Just keep an eye on them. I prune back any extra long growth that prevents us walking down the pergola, but other than that, we tend to leave them alone. Good mulch of manure is good for them. I do that a couple of times a year, once in spring, once in autumn. But other than that, that's it really. And with pruning, it really is just a case of going, where do I want it? 1, 2. It's done. Apart from being cold, it really isn't that much more of a headache than that. I am frozen. It's so cold. Oh, who thought this was going to be a good activity for today? Crazy person. So you can see at the back there, in front of the potting shed, there is long whippy growth, and then as you come nearer, you can see where I've pruned everything down to 2 buds from the main branch that I'm growing. Right, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to rate, share and subscribe to me here on YouTube. And until next time, bye!